we are going to discussing about the parameter annotation in TestNG. So just I'll quickly try to explain what is parameter. So parameter annotation in TestNG. Okay. So usually what happens is when it comes to environment variables. Say for example, as a QA we have to verify our test cases in multiple instances, right? Say for example, dev environment, QA environment, staging environment, like that, pre-prod environment, and finally the production environment. So like that it goes, right? So if I want to we are say what are the environment properties, like say for example username, password, and URL. These are all environment related things. So instead of hard coding these values in the program, say for example if you see our code, so these values are hard coded into our code, right? So this we are not we no need to hard code these values. Say for example, if we have 10 classes in this particular package, so then all 10 classes having this hard coded value. So say for example tomorrow if password is regenerated or if password is changed, then we have to go to all 10 classes, then we have to modify this password field. So that is difficult, right? That we cannot do it. So if you specify this value at one place, and if you refer it as a variable, so then it will be very easy for us to if you if tomorrow if any value is changed, if we go back to that one particular place where we have defined these values, there if we change, it will impact all the places, right? So that is one benefit. That is how we are making use of these parameters in TestNG. Okay. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'll create one separate class for that. Okay. So I'll create one new class called parameter TestNG. Okay. Parameter demo. So I don't want main method. So for TestNG, we don't need main method. So it will execute the class as TestNG test. So it is not required. Okay. So it is not required to select the main method. So we can directly we can create the class. So after class I just I'll just try to write before method. Okay. So I'll create one method called a public void, and
So
the
your
method.
screen is not visible.
Okay. So I was not presenting the screen earlier.
Tanu, sir,
Okay.
నేనే నా నంబర్ నుంచి మెసేజ్
So I'm creating one method called setup method. So inside this setup method, what I'll do, I'll do some kind of a setup related thing. So I'll import this annotation from TestNG test, I mean TestNG dot annotation package. Support this. Okay. So here in order to save the time, I'll do, I'll just copy paste this over. Okay. This is what exactly we want. So what it does is it will set up. So it is telling that driver is not recognized. It is showing one error called driver cannot be resolved to a variable, so that I need to declare the driver. Okay. So now I guess so import this driver from selenium open keyword selenium. That's up. That error is gone. Okay. So now this is one thing. Okay. So till now we have set up and we are launching the browser, and I just wanted to log in. For that I'll use one test method. So inside this test method public. creating a login method. For login also we have already written the code. We just try to copy paste this dot send keys. We go back to this page and just try to get that web element for that login button. Now what I have to do is we'll just try to inspect this page. Do right click on this page and click on inspect. Select this icon and click on this login button. And for this login button we have so many properties. And, by making use of this type property or login is there, we'll write on next path. Text contains text. No, this is not working. Text equal to so it is highlighted in that particular element. So I have written that web element. Copy this web element and write down the code driver dot find element. Find element by dot x path. We are passing the x path and do click on this. So I will click on this login. So import this test method from TestNG annotations, and then we will do after method. After method public void tear down or what tear down method. Write on tear down method. So in this method I will do driver dot quit. It will close all the things. So here, so I am just importing this file. Okay. Import this annotation from TestNG test. So this is what we have done in the earlier classes as well, right? So now where exactly we have to define that parameter. Okay. So after the test, so we have one more annotation called parameter. Okay. So if you import this, import parameter to J commander parameter change to parameters. Yeah, it is not parameter. Actually, it is parameters. Okay. So inside these parameters, you have to specify what are the parameters which you are going to getting. Okay. So where somewhere we have to specify, somewhere we have to keep these values inside the variables, right? So for that we have to create one this thing what inside this project we create one file. Okay. Go to new, click on other, and not from here. Go to new and here you click on file. So create one TestNG.xml file. Okay. So extension, make sure that you have to give it as XML, but before that name, whatever you want, you can give it. So generally, like people used to use TestNG.xml. Okay, so you click on finish. So it will generate on text file. Okay, so inside this we have to add one XML format. So that I'll explain. So this is the XML format which we have to add into that particular file which we created. So here if you look at this XML file, so this is what the version of encoding that version, and now where exactly this is the suite of this particular TestNG file, and the test name, whatever testing test name, whatever the test name we wanted to give, we can give it. Okay, so TestNG parameter test, like that will give. Okay, so you no need to worry about it. I'll send you this format, and we no need to remember this format also. Okay, so this is a standard format, so we no need to worry about it. So then comes this is the test suite, tag started. Inside this we have specified the suite, and the suite tag is ends here. So inside the suite, one test tag is started. So the name of the test tag, is TestNG parameter test. Okay, so here it is ended. Okay, so if you closely if you split this thing, so these three parts it contains. Inside the suite we have test. Inside the test we have parameters. Okay, so after that we have class. Okay, so inside the parameter, it started with the parameter tag, and it is ended. So here this is the second parameter, this is the third parameter. So then it is having classes. So inside the class we have class name. So this file we can call it as, also call it as a runner class. Okay, so basically what happens is, like, say for example we have parameter demo.java one class is there, right? Say for example if I want to run this code, what I'll do right click on this, and I'll do go to run, and run as testng test. Okay, so like this I'm doing. So if I have 10 classes, I cannot open all 10 classes, and I cannot do right click, and I cannot do run as testng test, right? So instead of that, all 10 classes like this, say for example this is the class name, what is the class name, like that. If you specify all the 10 classes name one below the other, say for example if I have one more class, you just need to copy this and put it in the second line, and change the what is the the class name. So in this case, if you do in this case, so what we have to do is, like, we no need to do anything. You come back to this testing data example, just do right click on this, go to run as testing the test rule. So it what it will do is, like, how many classes you specified over here or you mentioned over here, all the 10 classes it will execute one by one automatically. Okay, so that is all one more benefit of this testing.xml file. This is also called as what a runner class. Okay, so this is how the class implementation works. So when it comes to parameters, okay, so these parameters basically which are mainly used, or which are used commonly used at the application level. Okay, say for example few things will be there, that is, those are not global level, I mean not, those are not environment level. Basically this, say for example this is something which is related to, let us assume this is the orange HRM, right? So I'll copy this URL once. Okay, so this is the URL. So let us assume this is a QA environment URL. So we have so many environments. So in that environment, QA is one environment. So for that environment, throughout that environment or throughout the testing, if we are using this, so then this is what we call it as environment variable, right? So if we want to verify the same test cases in the staging URL, correct, in staging side, so in that case we just need to change this URL, that's it. So it will do all the execution in staging URL. So we no need to do any changes inside the code. So only this configuration file, if we modify this configuration file, then it will be absolutely fine. So we no need to do anything. So inside this you specify for username. Inside this we have admin123. You pass this as admin123 as a password. Okay. So now I'll save this file. Okay. So I'll come back to my program. So here I have specified it as parameters. Inside the parameter, here I am using username and password, right? So here I have to get that username and password. Okay. So how we have to do it, like I'll try to explain one time. So at the rate parameters, okay. So you start with this brackets, and inside the brackets you start and ends this curly brackets. Okay, inside this curly brackets every parameter should be passed inside the double quotes, and after that you have to put comma. After that you have to one more parameter you have to send it in inside this double quotes. So inside this method I am using two things, right? Username and password. So I'll copy this username, name of that particular environment variable. So you pass it over here, username. So the second one is password, right? Password. So then go to this password. Okay. So I'm taking the I'm this parameters is going to read these values from the TestNG.xml file. So these values should be supplied inside this method, right? So in order to get this method inside this inside the method, we have to accept. So this method accept these values, right? For that we have to the method with the with parameters we have to go. We will accept username, comma string one more parameter, password, pw. Okay. So this even username I'll be supplying it to admin. So this password I'll be supplying it to this particular password. So now it is not as hard coded value, right? So these values are supplied from this particular place. So these we haven't these values are not hard coded in the class file, correct? So these values are dynamic now. So that is one thing. So now comes URL, right? So here also it has inside this double quotes. Make sure guys, like while importing you have to import it from TestNG notations. So here we have one thing called the URL, right? So copy this URL, push it over here. Okay. So then it should accept that, right? String URL. So this URL I have to supply it over here. It should get the details. So now I'm saving it. So now my this complete code is dynamic. Nowhere I am referring the static or hard coded values inside my program, right? So that is how it is actually. So here make sure that parameters annotations is used. Once the annotations is used, read the values from the testng.xml file, and then you supply those pass those values to this particular method. From this method you make use of those variables, and you can use wherever you wanted to use. So these values, the testng.xml file is not only the solution. One more solution is there called config.properties. That is kind of a text file. So from there also we can configure all these environment properties. So then we can read it. That is one more solution. This is one more solution. Okay. So in the TestNG we have this feature. So we are exploring the feature. So that is why we are making use of it. Sometimes we may use direct text file also. That is not an issue. Okay. So now what I'll do, I'll execute this class. Okay. What we have to do in order to execute this class? One second, guys. One more second. So here there is some more thing we have to understand. So here the class name which the class name which it is there here, it is not exactly the class name which it is here, right? So for that what we do, class name we have to provide. This is okay. This is the class name. Parameter demo. Okay. So after that, what is this package? Uh, this package is com.qa.testng practice, right? So this I copy it. So inside this, go to this is the package com.qa.testng practice dot parameter dot java. So we no need to this package along with class name we have to provide. Then only it will work. Okay. So now I have to save this testng.xml file. What you have to do is just to right click on this particular testng.xml, go to run as TestNG suite. Now we have to see what exactly happens. So this is every day it is happening. Go to TestNG, disable this, click on apply first, go to TestNG.xml, run as TestNG suite. Driver is started now. So it is started the browser. It is maximized the window and it is opening the URL, adding XRM demo. So it is passing the values and click on the login button. So now it is done. After login, so we have done this what driver.quit, right? So it is closed the window. So if you look at the results, so this is com.qa.testng practice parameter demo. This is the class, right? So and inside this is the method, right? Login. This is the test. So inside this test, we are able to see two parameters, right? So whatever the parameter which is supplied to this particular place, so along with this value, we are able to see the test results. Correct. So that is the benefit of using the parameters. Okay. So and one more thing. So many things we can do with this. Okay, parameterizing. Say for example, I'll add one more parameter. Many things we can for many things we can do. What and all the things we are able to think that these properties are configuration properties at environment level. All those properties we can mention here, and all those properties we can use it over here. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just simply I'll try to create one more property called browser. So browser equal to Chrome. So now what I'll do, I'll save this file. I'll come back to this file. Here I'll expect one more parameter. Here I'll add one more parameter. This is which is the name is browser, right? This is the browser. I should get the browser. Okay. So after the URL I'm getting the browser, right? String here again browser. Okay. So this is capital S. String. Okay. So this is done. So now what I'll do, so before launching this browser, driver.get will do driver equal to new Chrome driver, correct? So the moment when I create an object, it will launch this browser, correct? So this is also Chrome driver.exe, right? System.set property Chrome driver.exe. So now what I'll do, I'll write an if condition. Okay? If okay, so this browser dot equals, okay, so we'll specify Chrome. If it is equal to Chrome, so then we'll launch the Chrome browser. Okay. Driver.chrome browser, exactly. Only these three lines are code. So let's put it inside this bracket. So this is driver. So now, say for example, from this file, if I pass the browser as a Chrome, it will launch the Chrome browser, right? As I am creating an object for Chrome driver class, definitely it will launch Chrome browser. Say for example, if I wanted to run for Firefox driver, so what I will do, instead of Chrome, I will pass Firefox. So then it will come and it will check like browser dot equals to Chrome. No, it will not be equals to Chrome, right? So it will fail. So it will not execute. So for that, what I will do, I will write one else condition. Else, not else, else if, then again browser dot equals here now if it is Firefox, okay, then I'll get into this loop. Okay, so here I launch the this what Firefox driver instead of Chrome driver. I have to launch Firefox driver. Firefox driver. So like this, we want to Firefox driver. Okay, so now what happens in this case? I'll just try to explain this. So now here I am specifying the browser value as Chrome. So here it is Chrome is there. So this value will be supplied to this browser. So it is expecting out after the URL. After the URL I am expecting this value browser. If browser dot equals to Chrome, okay. So then it will get inside this loop. If here also Chrome is there and here also Chrome is there, then it will get into this particular statement and it will launch the Chrome browser. If here I specify it as Firefox driver, absolutely this first statement will fail. Browser dot equals to it will not be equals to Chrome, right? Because browser is having Firefox now. Firefox is equal to Chrome. No, obviously this condition will not execute. So then it will come to this else part. So then Firefox is having browser is having Firefox, right? Firefox is equal to Firefox. So then it will come inside this loop. It will launch the Firefox browser. So after that, even if it is launch the Chrome driver or a Chrome browser, or if it is launch the Firefox browser, either one will be launched based on this thing, right? If it is Chrome, then it will launch Chrome browser. If it is Firefox, it will launch Firefox browser. Like that, we can write it for other browsers also, like Microsoft Edge and Opera, like that, Internet Explorer, like that. We can do multiple things. Okay. So just now I'm telling only two things. So after launching any browser, we have to maximize the window. We have to duration of implicit wait. So then we have to open the URL. So this is also one more configuration thing. So which browser we have to launch? So which browser I wanted to perform the testing? So that is one more important thing, right? So like that we can do many things. So I'll run this code. Okay, I'll save the code and I'll go back to test run. I'll run it as see guys, like here you have to notice TestNG suite. The moment when I execute the TestNG.xml, so I'm getting this option called the TestNG suite. When I directly click on this class, and if I click on this run as, here I am able to see TestNG test. So this is coming as TestNG suite, that is coming as TestNG test. Okay, I'm running it. So it should run as it is. So it is launch the Chrome browser, and it is done. Okay. If you go back to the test results, here we are able to see everything is passed. Okay. So like this, the parameter, the annotations will be used, guys. So make sure that this parameters annotations will be used for environment configurations. So in such situations, we can make use. Say for example, we can these are say let us assume these are for uh, QA environment configuration. Say for example, if we have one more set of configuration called staging configuration, so then we can define those configuration and we can write a logic to run in the configuration. And if it is we are having one more configuration called production, so we can specify those configuration, then we can use those configurations. So in order to based on that we can run our code. So that is how these parameters will be used in TestNG. Okay, so that is how we'll be using the parameters in TestNG.